Alright, welcome back to Taco Gaming. My name is Taco. We're going to continue our tutorial playthrough, playing as Castile, and hopefully leading you to success. I'm going to go ahead and hit unpause and let things move as we had set up. We now have a better ruler who's 25 years old. We don't have any heir, but we have a 5% chance of that changing. Let's see if we can Royal Marry Aragon. Let's go ahead and do that. So now we have a 10% chance of getting an heir, or we will. So let's talk about some of this stuff here. We have lost one of our vessels, the hazardous waters of the Bay of Biscay over here. So when your fleets are in water that's not right on the coast, relatively close to something that you control, they take attrition, and this particular ship must have been pretty well damaged and sank because of that attrition. This might say, 5%, 10%, 1%, whatever it is, but if it's larger than this number, which is their health, that ship would sink. Whatever ship it was seems to have sunk. And then we also have a new Cassius Belli, the Holy War Cassius Belli. They are accursed infidels. I'm unsure why I have the Holy War CB, but I do. That is not normally something that you get without religious ideas. But I guess I have it for some reason. And so you can see there that the war goal for that, instead of trying to conquer a province, would be to show superiority, which is done by battles, winning battles. And if you have over 10% war score from winning battles, you start getting a ticking war score, just as if you had controlled the county in a conquest war. And you can see that it is less aggressive expansion for conquering things from the accursed infidels. This looks like a very bad war, though, for me to declare. So we're going to continue on. So what I'm wanting to do in the future here, I would like my guys here, my mercs, to all be in one place. A child on the... Okay, so this is an event that can happen if you do not have an heir, especially if you potentially have a monarch personal union. Let me double check that I do have 10%. Yes, I do. So this is something that can happen. And that is that you can find a child in the reeds and you can adopt them or not. So this would be not usually gives you a minor bonus, in this case 5 ducats, or you can adopt them, in which case you get an heir. That's the good part. The bad part is they have a weak claim usually, which means that when they ascend to the throne, there will be a lot less legitimacy, a lot more unrest. Unless you are playing with the DLC that allows you to request support independence, which I don't think that I am. Doesn't appear that way. I would advise going ahead and taking it. It's going to create some problems with unrest, and we'll probably get there in this campaign. But it's an heir, and you avoid falling into a personal union as the lesser partner, which is not what you want at all. So we're going to adopt him as our own. If you do play with that DLC, I forget which one it is, then at that point, maybe would consider not doing it, because you could always get someone to help you get independent should you wish to not have that. However, maybe that's wrong. Because our civil war has started to tick up. We have less legitimacy than 90. We have ruled for less than 60 months, which is going to happen a lot. And stability is less than 1. So I'm going to change 2 of those things. I'm going to boost stability to get to 1. And I'm going to strengthen government in the government tab to get over 90. It costs 100 military power, but I have 100 military power. And that will help to slow down the Civil War. But really, the only thing that can stop it... Wow. I don't think there's much of anything that can stop it. So, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have spent the military power. You live and learn, I guess. We're going to have the disaster. This is a good time to talk about disasters. So disasters are a thing. They're in the Stability and Expansion tab. This is a special one for Castile. One of the reasons I actually suggest playing Castile is you might have to deal with this. They produce bad things, in this case a national unrest of +7, until you get out of them. Regular civil war happens anywhere, is potentially there, and you can see it can happen under the following circumstances. They have to all be there unless otherwise stated. So in this case, the Peasants' War could start if I had stability less than 0 at any monthly tick, which is why you always want to have the ability to get stability up a little bit. In this case, it probably has something to do with the weak claim of the heir, so maybe don't do that if you have that in your campaign. But we will deal with the Civil War, and it will be okay at the end of the day. My main goal right now is to get the technology here, Administrative Tech, up to Administrative Tech 5, so we can get our first idea. And then likely we will attack Tlemcen in 1456, so in May. And then likely our next war after that will be Portugal in 1470 to take this island here, to ensure that when we do colonize, it's just us. Aragon has claimed our throne. So yeah, it has to do with that weak claim. I am going to actually... I cannot disinherit because I have negative prestige. Okay. Fine, fine. Fazan is having a lot better game than usual. And Morocco has declared on them. Oh. So that is intriguing. Morocco's going to try and take some land. Not overly happy with this. Now, when I declare, it could bring in the Mamluks, which would not be what I want. But there's another option here. The Mamluks are incredibly strong, and without Aragon and without help, basically, that would be a bad idea. But if I were to ally them, then I would be called in their war. I'm not going to ultimately do this, but since they are a defender, if I were to ally them, they would call me in their defensive war, and I would be at war with Morocco without the Mamluks being involved, just with Tlemcen and me. And I maybe could win that war, and maybe could get Tangiers, since I have a claim on it. Tlemcen might be nice enough to give it to me, or I could even get in here and peace out with them myself to take as much of this land that I want as possible. Again, I want the Sevilla node, which means I want these 4 over here. But I'm not that interested in fighting that war if I don't have to, especially with the Civil War looming, so I'm not going to. We will just play it out. We are making 5 ducats per month. And so I do think that we have the ability to get some more troops. So we will get some more troops. Let's talk about army stuff here. Our combat width on the military tab here is, down here it is 20. I happen to know that a lot of the early techs, it increases, and so it's actually 22 for somebody nearby, so we should probably prepare for that. So we want an army that is 22 wide. However, also, you want to make sure that your cavalry is only 4 at most, and sometimes, a lot of times for me, you don't even want any cavalry. Right now I have 7. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new unit and move 3 cavalry over, and I'm going to delete them. And now I do have 21, which is over 20, but it's less than 22. So I'm going to move that to 22 at least. We'll train that one more troop. Now I have a full combat width army. I also have 8 more possibilities. When you get to tech level 7, you add artillery to the army, but you don't need full artillery until about tech level 16-ish. So you would just slowly be adding artillery to create a second line of artillery. This is just the first line of infantry and cavalry, and the second line would be artillery. We'll talk about that more in the next war when we are fighting with that. So I don't really want more cavalry. I could get more cavalry to put with this group, but I don't really need it. So I have a couple of options that I could do. I could train more cavalry, but I just deleted those, so I don't really want to do that. And this is more like a siege army anyway. So I could create some infantry to just get up to 41. That would be the most cost-efficient thing to do. The other thing to do would be to get some more mercenaries, like, say, this group here with their 6. That would get me to 39. This would be a third mercenary company, but would give me that much more manpower, and it's only 2.62. I'm going to actually do that, and then now that I'm at 39, I'm going to just create these 2 to get up to 41. I will caution, though, that sometimes it can be a little bit confusing, a little bit more confusing, to have so many mercenary companies. So you, in your game, may want to delete the mercenary companies and hire a completely new one that's a little bit more people. Like, say, this one that's got 9, or this one's got 16. For instance, I'm going to have, when I'm done here, 16. So I could just hire this company and have a little bit less confusion over having so many different mercenary stacks. But I'm going to keep it this way for myself. That's your other option, and it's perfectly valid. I am going to go ahead and go speed 4 just for time purposes, because we are, only 12 years into the game, and we're on episode 9 here, and I want to get moving to the next thing, which is the colonization and stuff like that. And of course, colonization is colonization of buildings, things like that, and that is, of course, the thing that I'm looking for ending the game, ending this particular run. So I could take diplomatic technology. I am not going to take diplomatic technology because I'm not under threat of falling into unbalanced research until military tech 6, which is a ways away. But I'm wanting to save my diplomatic power until I get admin tech 5 and I actually get the idea group. And the idea group we're going to take is exploration, which is a diplomatic idea. It's right here. And I would like to have enough power to get these first 2, if not the first 3, very, very quickly. So now we have Torquemada and the conversion of the Moors. So what we have is we could get this, which would make us more tolerant of religions that are not Catholic. Or we could do this, which would give unrest in all of the provinces you just took from Granada. It would give you an advisor who's 50% cheaper to employ, that gives missionary strength, which would make it easier to convert those 4 provinces. And Catholicism would gain reform desire, which leads to the Reformation. Let's see if that actually is seeable without the DLC. It is not. Oh, it is. So the reform desire currently is 33%. When that reaches 100%, Protestantism will fire somewhere in northern Germany, usually. Definitely somewhere in the HRE. My advice, honestly, is to lean toward an early game trying to just be tolerant. So what this will do is it will... you would gain stability here, but what this would do is it will increase the tolerance of heretics, increase the tolerance of heathens, and lower the tolerance of the true faith for the entire reign of Isabella, who was only 25. And so this number will move to 2.9, but this will be to -1 and -1, which means that the unrest in provinces that are Sunni or anything else that's not Christian, so as provinces that are non-Catholic Christian, would go down. Meanwhile, the unrest in Catholic provinces will go up, but still, that's usually not that big of a deal. So I think we're going to go ahead and do it this way. Plus, we get a stability, so now that's +2. So I think that's just fine. We can't lose 10 prestige, so we're going to do the other option. Whatever it is, that's the option we're doing, because we cannot lose 10 prestige because we have -32 to begin with. So you'll notice with the higher stability as well as the tolerance going down, going up, we actually have missionary strength, and we could convert these. If I wanted to, I could pay 0.17 ducats for 144 months to convert Gibraltar, this little thing here, or for 256 months I could pay 0.42, etc. To convert this one over here. This is based upon the autonomy, so as this goes down, the number of months it'll take to convert that province will also go down. But honestly, I am not going to pay 0.17 for 144 months. That's, what would that be, 12 years? No. In order to do that, I'm going to wait for that, just to see how short I can get it. A little bit later. I'm not that concerned about the religious unity at this particular moment in time. So here, it would be good to get morale of armies, it would be good to get yearly prestige, it would be good to get yearly army tradition. Do I want to lose 30 administrative power? I'm desperate for administrative power at this point. But also I'm desperate for prestige, and morale of armies would be really good since I have low prestige. But I'm kind of thinking I want administrative power more. We're unlikely to spend that. I guess we'd have 6 years. The war in Portugal. You know what? Yeah, we'll go ahead and do this because the truce with Portugal and thus England also expires on 1470, and that will give us 6 years to utilize that morale of armies, and etc., etc. So the reason that the Mamluks will come in here is that the defender of the Sunni faith, every faith has a potential defender. If you have 500 gold and your ruler is male, in Christian nations at least, you can become defender of the faith. You can see the benefits there and the drawback there of technology cost. If you have the Emperor DLC, that drawback is gone. There's a few other new benefits to that. You are then called in anytime someone who's not your religion attacks someone who is your religion. You get called in. That's why the Mamluks, who have claimed the defender of the Sunni faith, have been called in to, would be called in should I attack Tlemcen or Morocco. But they were not called in when Morocco attacked Tlemcen because Morocco is also Sunni. At some point, the Mamluks are going to lose that. I just know from experience at some point that's going to change, and that's when I can attack something else. I could left-click on the province here, right-click on their flag, make them a country of interest, and I should find out about that when they lose that thing, but we'll see. We are also behind in technology in military tech. We are tech level 4. I saw that Morocco was tech 5, or Mamluks are tech 5. Morocco would still be tech 4. That is something to certainly consider as you go through. And Aragon is tech 3. Yikes. There's certainly something to consider as you are going to war. Military technology, like I said last time, matters a ton. But we are likely to deal with the Civil War. It's just likely to fire, and then we will have to deal with that and have to show you how that is undone. But we can do that. I'm very confident in our ability to win the Civil War. With our troops as they are, we should be okay. It may not hurt when you are here if you do fear rebels, which at this point I don't want more rebels. One thing you could do is raise the autonomy. It's 90%. It would go up not by 25, but rather to 100. It would only go up by 10%. You would lose everything you're getting here when it goes to 100% autonomous. It would essentially stay there, but you lose 10 local unrest for 30 years, which is very, very helpful in preventing rebellions. There are some drawbacks to it. But this early in the game, the only drawback is that you lose the money, which right now is nothing because autonomy is at 90%. So we're going to go ahead and do that here. You see 7.3%. I can also do that where Portugal was out here, and you'll see, though, that this is actually a state that I've already made. So when I cored this one, it cost more admin, but it went straight to a state. So I'm actually making 0.3 ducats from this group. Now, we won't lose all of it. It would only go up 25% autonomy, but I would lose a portion of that. You can calculate that if you really want to. Since they are only at 10% up, we're not going to do that, but that is an option should they start going further up, which they will once the Civil War does fire, which seems like it's going to happen quickly. However, here we go. This is the event I talked about in the last episode, the Iberian Wedding. We set up the possibility for this to happen, and it has happened. Ferdinand II, King of Aragon, was married to the Princess Isabella of Castile in, whatever that is, in October 1469. This is real-life stuff. This was a marriage of political opportunism, not romance. The court of Aragon dreamed of a return to Castile, and Isabella needed help to gain succession to the throne. The marriage initiated a dark and troubled life in which Ferdinand fought on the Castilian and Aragonese fronts in order to impose his authority over the noble oligarchy, shifting his basis of support from one kingdom to the other according to the intensity of the danger. Despite the political nature of the union, he loved Isabella sincerely. Many considered Ferdinand the savior of his kingdoms, a bringer of unity. Others despised him for having oppressed them. Machiavelli attributed to him the objectionable qualities of the Renaissance prince. You have two options here. One is let's bind their dynasty to theirs. Aragon becomes a junior partner. Everyone loves each other. The Aragonese will never rebel, and we do have noble regiments that rise up. And Austria and Florence hate us. The other one will be, no, let us marry a local talent instead. They love to make this option. Intriguing. This one case, we gain a stability. That's really good. A new consort would appear. A consort is a thing I can talk about later. That's great. No, always, let's bind their dynasty to ours. Always. Doesn't matter what this is. Always. Let's bind their dynasty to ours. We now have a junior partnership. We are the senior partner. Aragon is the junior partner. Aragon is now our subject, just like Navarra is. You can see that their color has changed, and they now are with us. And every war we declare, they will come in. So, for instance, if I were to come over here, this is now a much more balanced fight, you'll notice, because Aragon is involved. Always take the personal union. Always. We're going to go ahead and send our mercenaries up to deal with that rebellion there. Now, I am noticing that there is a river here. You can see it on the main map. So I'm going to actually send my units to Avila because there's no river here, so that I can just cross in without the river crossing, because this is hills, which is defensive terrain. So that's the kind of stuff that's micro managing of the war. It's something you understand eventually. You can see the rivers in the provinces. You know, oh well, if the river's here, then it's likely that this province border has a river, and you want to avoid crossing it. Um, that's just something that I saw there, and thought that, you know, maybe you should look at that. Every time you try and engage an army, switch over to simple terrain. You can take a look at some of that information. If I really wanted to micro it, they will eventually move, and they will likely move to Toledo, our capital. So I could, if I really wanted to micro it, I could just sit in the drylands just off Toledo, and let them cross into Toledo and then move in. They would be the defender. They would actually get the crossing penalty of crossing this river, because they would be the defender because I have a fort there. But I'm not going to micro it quite that badly. 17,000, 13,000, we can win. All right, we have another mission that is down here. Claims in Aragon. All of this is now a part of us or our non-tributary states, which means that we will get this. We can take this. We gain 100 diplomatic power, and we gain 10 prestige. Not entirely sure that I want this right this second, because I would essentially eventually lose that diplomatic power if I'm saving it up for taking the technology or taking the idea. But it may just be that, okay, we'll go ahead and just take the next diplomatic technology. We'll spend 586 of it, and we'd still have about 400, plus it would start going up. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that because we're not anywhere near Administrative Tech 5. So I'm going to do that so I can get the prestige, as well as keep that 100 diplomatic power, because if I had gotten to, what is the total? 100,078, which would have gotten me very close. It would have been over 900. Then none of the rest that I would get would ever stay. Now, I think we still have Isabel. Yeah, we still have Isabel de Transmara. We still have the same heir. But you'll notice that the Castilian Civil War is gone, because we have a junior partner. That was one of the things that could remove it from being a thing. So that's good. That's very, very, very good. So yeah, we'll go ahead and get rid of these rebels. No problemo. And it'll be there. Now you'll notice with the mercenary companies, the ones with the generals have moved faster than the one that didn't have the general, even though they're attached. Because they're not one army, they move faster. That's why I didn't just move directly into the province. I was going to wait for all of my men to get up here and move in. If you had just the one army, like I talked about getting just the one Portuguese, or not Portuguese, that's the event that I just saw there, the one mercenary army, then they would all move as one, and you wouldn't have to move them near where the fight will take place and then move into the fight. You could just move into the fight. A Portuguese exile has come. He's offering his services for protection from the Portuguese king. If we bring him in, we get a skill 3 trade efficiency advisor, which is admin. Portugal hates me. I don't care. And I would gain 10 prestige. If we have no room for him, Portugal likes me. I don't care. We'll see. I may actually have the money to hire him. We'll find out. But mainly, I want the prestige, and I don't care if Portugal hates me. So if he sits in the court and never gets done, fine. You don't actually have to hire them. You still get the benefits. We're already up to only -6 in the prestige. Let's find out, though, how much he costs. So he is not on here. I guess he's actually level 2. Let's wait for a month. So you can see the rebels, they don't stand that well against me. Noble rebels are a lot better than a lot of other ones. Noble and pretender rebels are really, really good, but and like peasants are really, really bad. But yeah, in this case, we beat them pretty handily. So I'm gonna say he's not here. Maybe he's here. He's here. It would be a Diplo guy. So you can see that a level 2 advisor with no benefits is 3.27. Level 3 advisor, 50% cheaper to employ, is 3.68. So this is the guy, Portuguese guy, who was here. But I don't need more diplomatic power. I really want more admin. So I'm going to actually do spend a little bit more money and switch over to one of these guys. And I'm going to do, yeah, yearly prestige. Well, I really like to have yearly prestige, come to think of it. But we're already up to negative 0.6, so I think we're okay there. I'm going to go ahead and spend the money. And I'm going to hire a national unrest guy here and actually increase my administrative power production up to 11. Ooh, we can even get a decision because I hire that particular guy, which would decrease institution spread, increase missionary strength. I am not converting anything, and I am trying to get an institution, so that is a big fat no. So if you don't want to do the decision, you can click this yellow button, and it will disappear, and the icon will disappear as well. You still can manually come in and do it, but it won't tell you that you can do it. Last thing here, noble family requests aid. We can grant aid. We would lose 174.83 ducats, which we have, and nobility would gain 10 loyalty. We can deny aid, however, and we would lose administrative power, which I want, and nobility would lose 10 loyalty, which would be fine because it does not bring them below 30. But I have the money. I want to keep my administrative power, so there is no question we're going to grant the aid. And with that, we will allow this rebel control province to be taken back, and I will end the episode right here. I hope you have enjoyed. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe down below. I will see you next time.